Hi everybody, I'm Andy and this is Brian, and we work here in the carpenter shop at the Botanic Garden, and today we're going to be building a compost bin for our children's growing garden. It's a raised panel design, and we're actually building 3 units for a 3-year composting cycle. Each one of our panels is constructed from 4 sides, and for the strength of the panels we designed them to have half-lap joints that'll overlap each other and be screwed together to form the basis of our panel. We try to keep the panels square, so a little bit off on this panel will throw the whole rest of the enclosure off, and the lids won't work and the doors won't fit squarely, so this part is really important to go ahead and make sure to get this part right. Cutting a slot in the inside of the panel allows for us to place the slats inside of the frame, and that provides for proper ventilation in the compost bin, also keeping with the aesthetic that we're going for. In order to cut the slot, first we clamp it down to the bench, and then I use a router and a slot cutter, which will run along the inside edge here. This blade will go ahead and cut the groove on the inside of it that we're looking for. Safety first, with glasses and hearing protection and all the things that you need. The thickness of our slats requires that we make 2 passes with the router at 2 different depths so that the slats will fit securely in the channel. After cutting the slots, we go ahead and take the frame of the panel apart, and then that'll allow us to insert the slats into the frame before we go ahead and glue it up and do our final assembly of the panel. We cut spacers and glue little spacer blocks in between each slat to ensure that they stay properly spaced and they look even once you finish with the assembly of the panel. After the panels are all assembled, you go ahead and mock them up inside of the grooves that you cut in the post. When you fabricate those, everything should fit together nice and tight. And this is where you really start to see the bin take shape. After trimming and fitting all the panels together, you go ahead and secure them together. For this project, we use exterior grade screws to go with the exterior lumber, again to try to have it keep up for a long time, that it'll last. After the door is assembled, we go ahead and trim it to its final dimensions, and we'll put it in place and go ahead and mount the hinges to allow the door to open and close. We have heavy-duty stainless steel hinges to hold up to the weight of the door and the constant use that it's going to see throughout its lifetime. We pre-drill the holes so that the wood doesn't split when we go ahead and screw it together. So to mount our handle, we'll just find our center. The center of our lid is there, and then we can go ahead and line our handle up. All right, in order that we don't over drill the holes for the screws to hold the hinges on, we're going to go ahead and mark our drill bit with a piece of tape, and then that way we know how far we need to drill without going too far and coming out the other side.
Surprise!
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Now that we have our doors and lid mounted, one of the final steps we're going to do is we're going to install a hydraulic shock system to assist in opening and closing the door. Not only is that going to help because we're making this for kids to use, but in the end, the door is rather heavy, and these will help to ensure that it stays open when it should be opened and it stays closed when it should stay closed, to keep animals out and things like that. To start, you measure what is the closed length of the shock, and after you get what the closed length of the shock is, you can mark it out how far apart your pivot points need to be, both on the lid and on the inside of the frame. Once you get that figured out, you just go ahead and screw it on and let the shock do the rest of the work. And once you get that side securely mounted, you can go ahead and align this one with the marks we already made. All right, once you got it mounted up, you just check it out to make sure that it's opening and closing freely. And go ahead and finish putting in the rest of the screws and mount another shock to the other side. And we've got our lid installed, we've got our hydraulic system finely tuned, and the last thing to do is just go ahead and sand out any of the remaining pencil lines, and to go ahead and plug all these holes with the screws in them with cedar plugs that we have. So just put a little glue, insert the plug, and wipe some of the extra glue off. Go ahead and cut the plug back. And sand the extra smooth. So as you can see, we've completed one of our 3 composting bins. This one will be ready to go. We've got 2 more that we're going to complete and hopefully have them out there in the garden for everyone to enjoy this spring. We hope you enjoyed building them with us as much as we enjoyed building them with you.